The girl who made Rafael Nadal not online and go silent in real life. No one knew Nadal had watched the entire match until his personal assistant sent an internal message to the Rafa Academy just 7 minutes after match point. She didn't just win, she reversed the system. The person they were talking about was a 20-year-old Filipina girl, Alexandra Eala. And if you haven't heard her name, it's even more reason to stay. The Guadalajara 125 final started like a tragedy. Alex was crushed 1-6. The crowd jeered. The camera panned to her parents, their eyes filled with helplessness. But do you know this? Rafael Nadal once said in an internal coaching session, "Great players aren't judged by the first score, but by how they refuse to collapse." And his own student delivered exactly that. Set 2, Alex didn't change her technique. She changed her breathing rhythm. She slowed the tempo, prolonged the rallies, forcing her opponent into impatience. Set 3, the opponent didn't understand what was happening. The audience switched sides. The commentator declared, "We're watching the birth of a different kind of Southeast Asian athlete." When it was over, Rafa didn't applaud. He posted publicly, "Congrats, Alexa. I'm proud of what you're achieving for yourself and the Philippines." But behind the scenes, he added a sentence that never made the news. "That trophy is ours, but she earned it for herself." This is more than just a win. This is proof that a girl from a country with no tennis tradition can redefine Asia's position in the sport. And if you think this is the peak, you haven't seen Alexandra Eala's next journey. Subscribe to the Pro Tennis Stories 360 channel to discover people who don't just break limits, but silence the very people who taught them. Are you ready? The story begins right after this clip. The Sleepless Cup, the journey of a symbol. The WTA 125 trophy that Alexandra Eala won in Guadalajara was not placed in a luxurious wooden box, did not have a grand procession, or a media team escort. It traveled just as the path she took, quietly, humbly, and with great reverence. Immediately after the final, as the stadium lights dimmed, Alex wrapped the cup in her gray wool scarf, the kind she used all winter training in Europe, then placed it on the passenger seat of her rental car in Mexico. She didn't hand it to an assistant. She didn't check it in. She didn't let anyone else touch it. When a local reporter asked, "Why not courier it?" Alex just smiled. "I earned it myself. I'll take it home myself." From Guadalajara, she flew to Sao Paulo to compete in the WTA 250. The cup was tucked under the seat. Every time she passed airport security, staff were curious and asked to inspect it. At the Sao Paulo airport, a security guard recognized the WTA logo, glanced at Alex and laughed. "Ah, it's you." After the tournament in Brazil, she continued her journey to Madrid, rested 2 days before heading home to Manila. No media, no PR team, just her coach, a suitcase of rackets, and the silent cup traveling with them. Upon arriving in the Philippines, the trophy was not displayed at the National Tennis Federation headquarters or a sports museum. Alex brought it home to her grandmother's house in Cavite, where she used to sleep in the same bed with her during short breaks. She cleared a corner in an old glass cabinet, lined silk fabric underneath, and placed the cup in the middle. No spotlights, no nameplate, just a handwritten note in pencil. Work beats hype. The next day, when the media sought her out for filming, Alex wrapped the cup back up in the scarf. "I don't want it to become something to show off," she said. In an era where every achievement is posted on social media within minutes, that action was a quiet but clear declaration. This cup is the result of labor, not a performance prop. And because of that, the cup, though silent, still lives, still travels, still becomes a sleepless symbol. Block 10 will be the final twist. The real reason Alex cried, not because of the victory, but because of something no one could have guessed. The tear, not for the cup. Throughout the journey from the moment she raised the trophy to her return home, Alexandra Eala never shed a tear in front of the camera. Not on the awards podium. Not when Rafael Nadal posted his congratulations. Not amidst the barrage of questions from the international media. She cried once, when she returned to Cavite, in her grandmother's small kitchen. That afternoon, it had just rained. The cool, damp air flowed through the slightly open window. Alex sat down on the familiar wooden chair, the WTA 125 cup placed next to her, still dusty from the Mexico, Brazil, Madrid flight. Her grandmother poured her a hot cup of cacao, the kind Alex had been drinking since she was 8. Her grandmother only asked softly, "Are you tired, dear?" Alex nodded, then whispered almost inaudibly, "I'm afraid I'll lose myself if everything changes too fast." No one answered. No advice. No philosophy. Her grandmother just pushed the cup of cacao closer. In that moment, there was no glory, no spotlight, only a 20-year-old girl, tired, vulnerable, and doubting herself. The tear that fell was not for the cup, but for a very human fear that when the whole world starts looking at you as an icon, do you still get to live as yourself? The whole world asked Alex, "How does it feel to be champion?" But no one asked, "How do you not lose yourself after that victory?" And that is the real question. Because for Alex, the most beautiful shot of her career is not in the highlight reel or the list of titles. It lies in her ability to maintain her original mindset, even when all the lights are shining directly in her face. The cup is still there, in the Cavita kitchen, next to the cacao and the quiet hum of the fan. But since that day, for Alex, it's no longer the destination. It's a reminder that the greatest things sometimes begin and need to be kept in the simplest things. Block payoff will bring you back to the starting point, where a young girl not only won, but chose how to live with that victory, without letting it consume the identity she worked so hard to preserve. Payoff, when the road home is no longer the same. The moment Alexandra Eala raised the Guadalajara Cup didn't just close a match. It opened a new chapter, not only in her personal career, but in the history of Philippine sports. But glory didn't change her. The only thing that changed was the path she had walked. Now there is no going back. Because once you've proven you're good enough to win, you no longer have the right to try again. Every next match will be an expectation. Every failure will be gossip. But that is what makes Alex's victory meaningful. She didn't win to be loved. She won to continue being herself. This story is not about a first WTA title. It's about the resilience of an athlete who dared to refuse the easy path, dared to live unscripted, and dared to keep herself whole amidst a life of many choices. Alexandra Eala may not be the name that goes viral every week, but for those who have followed this journey from day one, from the untelevised ITF matches, from the times she carried her own racket on the subway in Europe, the comeback in Mexico is a deserved reward. You don't need to like tennis to understand this story, because it's the story of anyone who has ever been underestimated, ever wanted to give up, ever had to remind themselves why they started. That's what makes Alex different. She doesn't compete to be remembered. She competes to be worthy of her own effort. If you feel this is more than just sports, but a slice of the human spirit, subscribe to the Pro Tennis Stories 360 channel. Here, we retell stories that make you believe that not everyone who wins is the strongest, but the one who doesn't forget who they are. And what do you think? Will Alex be able to maintain her identity while everything around her is changing every day? Or will she too, one day, become an icon shaped by her own glory? Leave a comment, because you might be the one to write the next chapter of this story. The girl who was almost cut from Nadal's academy, and the answer that silenced everyone. In 2018, a 13-year-old Filipina girl arrived in Mallorca carrying a racket, a bag of clothes, and no notable track record. Her name was Alexandra Eala. The academy admitted her as a potential international student, but only gave her a 6-month trial. The reason? Lacks physique, lacks power, and comes from a region with no tennis history. In the second week, Alex was placed in the C-level training group, the group for students needing to improve basic technique. An internal email from the Rafa Academy at the time stated, "Needs more aggression. Mental game unknown." Having never been evaluated like that, Alex cried after the 7th session. But she didn't ask to go home. Instead, she did something few students dared to do. She wrote a letter to the coaching staff, requesting to be moved to train with the boys group, a move that was immediately rejected, until Nadal himself read it. The former world number one didn't reply publicly. But 3 weeks later, Alex was transferred. A coach recalled, "We thought she'd quit after 2 days. Instead, she was the one who pushed the boys to hit harder." In the next 5 years, Alex didn't just stay. She became the only student assigned tactical drills in the Nadal style. Attack when down on points, change direction when forced to the baseline. She suffered a wrist injury. She missed a tournament in Barcelona, but she never missed the 5 a.m. morning practice. Even when the outdoor temperature dropped below 4 degrees Celsius, 39 degrees Fahrenheit. The results? Not flashy. No major cups. No spotlight. The Spanish media ignored her. Even the Rafa Academy didn't feature her prominently on the homepage like other young European players. Until the day she defeated the Hungarian player in Guadalajara, becoming the first WTA champion from the Philippines. Nadal didn't need to say anything, but he reposted the clip of Alex celebrating with a short caption. "She was ready years ago. You just didn't see her." When Nadal broke his own unwritten rule. At the Rafa Nadal Academy, there is an unwritten rule. Rafael Nadal does not publicly praise students, whether they win a low-level tournament or earn an Ivy League scholarship. All praise is kept internal, to avoid putting pressure on young players. But after the Guadalajara final night, that rule was broken. Just 40 minutes after the match, Nadal's personal account posted a simple tweet. "Congrats, Alexa, on your first WTA trophy. I'm proud of what you're achieving for yourself and for the Philippines." No hashtag, no tagging the academy. But the tennis world understood. This was the first time Nadal publicly acknowledged a student as a national representative, and no longer just a promising young athlete. A reporter from El País revealed, Nadal is very reserved. For him to speak out for Alexa means she did something far beyond expectations. What few people know is, before the final, Nadal sent a voice message to Alex via the Academy's internal group. The content was never made public, but an Academy aide confirmed. That message changed her posture. She walked into that final not as a girl from Southeast Asia, but as Rafa's shadow. And on the court, it was evident. The cross-court forehand, the movement to the net, every gesture of Alex recalled the young Nadal himself. But the biggest difference was in her eyes, not seeking approval, but the eyes of someone who understood her position. When the final whistle blew, the camera panned to Rafa. He didn't applaud. He didn't stand up. He just closed his eyes for a few seconds and then smiled. An action that wasn't in the script, but spoke more than any speech. Block 3 will take you to where everything began. A private conversation between Alex and Rafa in 2022, where her WTA destiny was decided. The private conversation in 2022. You are not a substitute. Few know that Alexandra Eala almost gave up professional tennis in 2022. After nearly 4 months struggling with a wrist injury, her WTA ranking dropped outside the top 300. A string of losses at ITF tournaments led many coaches to suggest she focus on the university path. For them, the WTA opportunity had passed, and studies could offer an easier life. Late one afternoon in Mallorca, as the sun dipped below the coast, Alex was called into the main office. No assistants, no media cameras, just Rafa Nadal waiting. He didn't ask about the injury. He didn't ask about the scores. Only a cold but sincere question echoed in the quiet room. "Do you want to stop for an easier life?" Alex recounted later. "I was silent. But in my head, I thought, I've never had anything easy." Nadal's gaze never left her. He continued, slower, as if etching every word. "Then, if you've chosen hard, don't play like someone asking for a chance. You are not a substitute." The conversation lasted exactly 11 minutes. No recording, no press, no applause. But that very moment became the turning point that made Alex switch modes, from tennis student to tennis warrior. The next day, she scheduled extra practice sessions, starting at 4:30 a.m. She analyzed opponent data herself through video, set by set, serve by serve. She bought her own plane tickets to ITF tournaments in Europe despite receiving no federation support. Every match, every journey was a test of endurance and resolve. In 2023, Alex graduated from the academy. No grand farewell party, no speeches, only a book gifted by Nadal, unnamed, unsigned, just a handwritten line. Earn your name, then protect it. When she won in Guadalajara, Nadal had his assistant repost that line on his story, the first time he let a student carry his quote out to the public. It wasn't just a lesson, it was a confirmation that Alex had turned challenge into courage, and courage into her weapon. The final, when the reverse was a declaration. September 10th, 2024, Guadalajara. No one was betting on Alex. Her opponent, Panna Udvardy, a 1.76 meters, 5 feet 9 inches, Hungarian player, with Fed Cup experience, once ranked in the world top 100. Meanwhile, Alex had just returned to the top 100, and the crowd clearly favoring the European. Set 1, Udvardy dominated with power shots and deep serves. Alex got caught up in the rhythm, reacted slowly, and quickly lost 1-6. But the turning point came midway through set 2, when Alex was down 3-5, and Udvardy was serving. Most young players would give up, but Alex did the unexpected. She proactively came to the net 3 times in the same game. A missed volley, a clean winner, and a match point save, with a reverse forehand from outside the court. The stands erupted. But it wasn't just a point. It was a message. I'm here to take control. Alex won set 2 with a score of 7-5. In set 3, she completely dominated, moving as if programmed, attacking with a Nadal-style forehand, deep topspin, forcing directional changes. When match point ended, no one celebrated immediately. There was silence, then an explosion of emotion. The ESPN commentator said, "We just witnessed the rise of a different archetype. She didn't win because of strength. She won because of belief. She didn't just win a cup. She redefined victory. No noise, no hype, just the right moment." And Nadal, once again, made no statement. He only reposted the clip of the reverse shot with a single dot. Nothing more, nothing less. Block 5 will delve into the global impact and the shock that forced the Spanish media to change its tone. The shock to global media. Just hours after Alex's victory in Guadalajara, the phrase "first Filipino WTA singles champion" appeared simultaneously in international news. ESPN, BBC Sport, Tennis Channel, and even Marca, the Spanish sports paper usually focused on football, all ran headlines about the historic victory of a player from Southeast Asia. But the most stunning thing wasn't that Alex won, but who responded first. Not the WTA, not the Philippine media, but Rafa Nadal himself, who proactively posted a story with congratulations, a rare and nearly unprecedented action. The ripple effect was immediate. On X Twitter, prominent tennis accounts began digging up Alex's journey, from untelevised ITF matches to 5 a.m. practices in Mallorca. The account at the Tennis Letter, with over 300,000 followers, wrote, "She's not a product of hype. She's a product of hunger." The post surpassed 2 million views in under 24 hours. The Spanish press, which had previously only mentioned Alex as a promising student, suddenly changed its tune. Diario AS called her La Chispa del Sudeste Asiático, the spark of Southeast Asia. Marca went further. Ila no solo ganó un título. Nos obligó a mirar hacia el futuro del tenis femenino. Alex didn't just win a title. She forced us to look at the future of women's tennis. And that is the truth. Because Alex's victory wasn't part of any system's media plan. No major sponsors. No WTA backup. But she stole the international spotlight for only one reason: genuine impact. Block 6 will explore the perspective from the Philippines itself, where this victory is not just sports, but a new cultural symbol. When a title becomes a national symbol. Immediately after the trophy presentation, the Office of the President of the Philippines issued a statement. "Ang iyong tagumpay, ay tagumpay ng buong bansa." Your victory is the victory of the entire nation. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. not only posted congratulations, but also directed funding to develop more national tennis facilities, inspired by Alex's journey. This has never happened in the country's sports history. which prioritizes boxing, basketball, and billiards. In schools, clips of Alex's victory were shown during assembly time. Youth groups circulated the hashtag #AlexEala Challenge to encourage exercise and never giving up. In the poor neighborhoods of Manila, children started using bottle caps as balls and wooden rulers as rackets, reenacting the final as a community ritual. No one asked for it. No one organized it. It was spontaneous inspiration. At the Philippine Embassy in Spain, a replay of the match was organized, where dozens of expatriate Filipinos were overcome with emotion, many crying when they heard the international commentator say, "The Philippines has arrived." Alex said nothing that night, but the image of her bowing to thank the audience and tightly holding the red, blue, and yellow flag was reposted thousands of times on Instagram and Facebook. In less than 3 days after the victory, Google Trends Philippines recorded AlexEala as the most searched keyword, surpassing even political topics. Block 7 will reveal the hidden side, the psychological pressure that Alex herself disclosed as heavier than the match itself. Behind the cup and the media, the unseen pressure. In a podcast recorded after the championship, AlexEala shared something unexpected. She was afraid to win. "Before the final, I couldn't sleep for 2 nights. I was afraid if I won, everything would change forever." What made that sharing resonate with listeners was its unvarnished truth. After the victory, Alex didn't return to the Philippines. She didn't accept endorsements. She didn't open courses or sign advertising contracts. Instead, she went to Brazil to prepare for the WTA 250 tournament in Sao Paulo, where she was the 3rd seed. A coach who trained her in Spain revealed, "She's not good at celebrating. She only knows how to work." But that doesn't mean Alex didn't feel the pressure. In a cited diary excerpt, she wrote, "I used to think if I don't win anymore, people will say that victory was just luck." That's why, immediately after the championship, she requested to temporarily lock her Instagram account to avoid getting caught up in praise or criticism. The media didn't know this, but those close to her confirmed. She didn't read comments. She didn't rewatch the clip. She just wanted to practice as before. But that's not easy, because from the moment AlexEala raised the trophy in Mexico, her every step has been viewed under a microscope. Block 8 will analyze. Can Alex maintain her identity as commercial and media pressure tightens? Maintaining identity amidst the commercial vortex. After the Guadalajara championship, AlexEala's agent's phone didn't stop ringing. Sports fashion brands, beverage chains, and even large social media platforms sent sponsorship proposals. Some offered 6-figure deals just for her to be a one-time representative. One shoe company wanted to release a product line named Eala Storm. But Alex declined almost all of them. The reason? "I don't want to attach my image to something I don't understand," she said in a rare interview. Alex's caution doesn't come from fear, but from principle. Her team has no image consultant or PR group. The team only consists of a coach, a physical trainer, a recovery specialist, and a manager who is a former athlete. A major Asian sports brand once requested to modify Alex's competition outfit to bear more logos. The answer was no. A social media platform proposed a scripted content campaign. Alex nodded, then sent back content she wrote herself about losing a match at a small ITF tournament in 2021 and how she had to wash her own clothes without support. Refusing opportunities doesn't mean rejecting success. It's her way of redefining the word success. A WTA consultant remarked, "She's like early IGA Swiatek, quiet, very self-aware, and absolutely won't let anyone build an image for her." Block 9 will reveal the strange journey of the cup from Mexico through 3 countries before reaching Manila.